What's going on? What's going on? This is Luis with Blessed Sports Podcast. I just did an interview with Landon Quiñones, Puerto Rican. He just recently signed with the UFC, and you're going to see the interview and hope you guys like it. Peace.
What's up, man?
What's going on, man?
Chilling, dog. How are you?
Good. Thanks for accepting for doing this.
Of course, man. So good.
All right. Well, it's going to be short and sweet. It's just a few questions. The purpose of me doing this is just staying in touch with sports and all that, because family and all that, I can't do no more sports, but it's just to hear stories. That's why I'm doing this.
What sports?
What's that?
What sports did you do?
I did in Puerto Rico. I did football, track, and basketball, but then I did semi-pro football for 2 years.
Awesome.
For 2 years, we went to Mexico. We lost, but we ate a lot of tacos. We went to a wrestling match. And then over here, I live in Florida. I live in Kissimmee, but over here I played 1 year, but then COVID hit, and then the season was over. We played 6 games and then had a baby, and I just hang up my cleats and I just do the podcast, and I just try to talk about sports or people that ESPN don't talk, and all of them, because everything is LeBron.
Plenty of those.
Yeah. So we're gonna do an icebreaker. I'm just gonna say a few things to get to know you better, and then we're just gonna hear your story from the beginning until you're right now.
Yeah, I got you, man.
All right. What's your favorite color?
I'm black. Like dark.
Black. Favorite movie?
Damn, what's my favorite movie, man? I don't know, man. These are things I didn't think about. I should have probably been.
Okay. Favorite actor?
I don't really have much of a favorite. I would say DiCaprio, I guess. Leonardo DiCaprio is a good actor.
Yeah. Favorite food?
Oh, man. It depends on the mood, man. I go through phases. Like, are you talking junk food or just in general?
No, in general.
Probably steak. Probably steak? Like ribeyes, like fatty steaks. Yeah, fatty steaks.
What else?
And fried chicken. That's like one thing I've been on lately. I've been a little dude. I've been a sucker for fried chicken, bro.
All right. Well, let's start. When did you start to do MMA?
When I was 17. I dabbled my whole life. Like I did a little bit like karate when I was 5. I did a couple trial boxing classes when I was like 13. I did a little traditional jiu-jitsu when I was like 13. When I was like 13 as well, 12, 13, which is like more like judo. It was more like judo, but it wasn't anything really like that's too applicable to like fighting. But I dabbled throughout my life, and like it was always open to me, but I never committed to anything or really trained MMA until I was like 17. So when I was 17, when I really like started like going to classes all the time and like picking it up, and I started getting more committed to it.
What made you get into MMA?
I had a friend of mine come over to my house, and he had just started doing classes at Wagner Rocha's plantation. Wagner Rocha is a really good black belt world champion. He's a big time local guy around here. Fought in the UFC as well, and he opened a gym at plantation by my school and where I live. And he was a white belt, and he started doing classes, and he was super hyped on the classes he was doing. He was so excited about it. And we were at my house one day hanging out, and we were watching fights, and he was showing me all these highlights of all these different fighters and different guys, and just I was hearing their stories and the things they went through, and I felt like it was so relatable to me. And I feel like in anything I did in life, I never really did anything and stuck to it, right? I was always like half in, half out, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, doing anything I did, whether it was playing basketball, which I was pretty good at basketball. I played baseball, but I could never pick anything. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try. I think I can do that. Like, I think I could go fight people or like do this. I feel like it'd be good for me. So I went to a gym. I trained a little bit, and I started, and I loved it. So I started training 3 days a week. 3 days a week turned into 4, then 5. Eventually, I was training 7 days a week because I was 18 and I could do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My body could handle that. So, yeah, man. I started. I actually had a little epiphany. It sounds weird, but I was fucking taking a tab of acid. I took a tab of acid one time, and I looked at because I'd already been training like 3 days a week, and I'm like, I was always a big talker. I've always had a big mouth. Even now to this day, I still got a big ass mouth. And I was talking all this shit like I was gonna fight and I was gonna do this and I was gonna do that, but I never like committed to anything. So I looked at myself in the mirror when I was on that. I didn't like what I saw. I was like, man, I'm skinny. Like I'm drinking during the day with my partying. And, like I'm training 3 days a week and going to a class. I'm not really serious. Like who the fuck am I kidding? I'm not for shit. And eventually, once I did that, I quit everything. Like I stopped smoking, I stopped drinking. I just committed like training 7 days a week, like twice a day. I started working for my coach at the time. He used to have a glass company, so I would do jobs with him in the morning when I graduated high school, go train in the afternoon, watch the after school programs. After that, train again at night, and that was just my routine for a whole year. And eventually we had a falling out, and I ended up where I am now, MMA Science Academy, which when I first started there 11 years ago, it was American Top Team Sunrise. It's just been rebranded now, but now I've been there ever since, and the rest is history, you know.
And let's just move a little bit forward. Before you signed with UFC, where did you fight before?
I had my pro debut. So I had like 8 amateur fights. I wasn't the best amateur. I fought pretty much when promotion was available. When I turned pro, I had my first fight with Bellator, which was actually it was in the Monster Energy series. So it was like a little small cards that were free to the public, and they would get like sporting events. Like my pro debut was at the Homestead NASCAR Speedway. And it was outdoors, no canopy. The campus was super, super hot, burning my feet. It was terrible. I used to fight at featherweight, 445, not 65, and I used to cut so much weight, and like the weight cut did me so dirty. It took a lot out of me, man. I was a lot smaller back then. And then on top of not having a great rehydration and being in that heat, it was just horrible, man. One of the worst feelings I had. I feel like I definitely underperformed. I ended up with a draw with my opponent. And then after that, I got signed with Titan FC to a 4-fight deal. I got my first win there, and I don't think I had 2 wins after that. I had my first win by submission. My second win was TKO. So I'm 2-0-1. I was undefeated, 2-1. Then I fought a guy who's now in the UFC, Mohammed Naimov, is still at featherweight. And I lost a split decision, which I definitely feel I won that fight. If you go watch the fight, it's in the fence. Really pretty underwhelming. And then after that, I went on to win every single fight until I got to the UFC. So now we're here. And I fought under the Titan FC banner pretty much until I got on the Ultimate Fighter. And after I got on the Ultimate Fighter, I got to the UFC. So
and before UFC, no, you haven't fought for a title before you came.
No, I was winning the belt for Titan FC. I was the champion at lightweight for Titan FC. So I won the belt and I defended it once as well. So I was a champion. I feel like you're not really a champion until you defend your belt. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I won. So I'm along the lines of a champion. I was a champion.
So right now in UFC, how many fights you've done?
I have 2. Fortunately, I have 2 losses in the UFC. The first one was the circumstances were a little unfair. I fought a guy with 13 UFC fights. My first UFC fight, who was top 20, fought Bobby Green, fought Dan Hooker, fought a lot of killers. He's really, he was a tough fighter, man. A lot of volume. I wasn't in shape for it. 2 weeks notice on a 14-hour time change in Australia. I feel like it was a great fight. We should have definitely got fight of the night and gotten the 50K, but I don't think Dana White or Sean Shelby watched the fight. The second fight, I fought Markel Medeiros, good fighter, good striker, guy from Factory X. I went into that fight super sick. Not trying to make excuses, but I was really sick. I'm prednisone. I couldn't breathe. I had a really bad respiratory infection. By the time I got to the fight, I was decently healthy, but I was still not breathing well. And I feel like I definitely did enough to win that fight, but sadly the judges gave it to him in a very competitive decision. A lot of the media thought I won that fight. A lot, like MMA Junkie, Verdict MMA, a lot of media outlets had me winning on the cards. Unfortunately, it didn't go my way. So instead, they were open to giving me another fight. But unfortunately, I've been waiting for a year and nothing's really happened. So I've been kind of just chilling, just waiting.
You still training?
Yeah, but I've decided to take a step back, and because I've been doing this a long time, 13 years. You get to the highest level doing something and you're still not getting shit. You think you're going to make it to the big show and you're going to make all this money and your life's going to be changed. You're going to be able to take care of your family, do things. But That's far from the truth, bro. This is the hurt business, and like they don't take care of you or compensate you like they should, you know. And that's not just the UFC. That's any promotion. You know, I feel like momentum, timing are everything in this sport, and it's something that I just don't have at the moment. So I'm still in the UFC. I'm still signed, you know, but they have shelved me for a year. I've been putting me in the back pocket to use me for a short notice up or something like that. Obviously, I love martial arts. I'm never going to stop training. I'm not retired. I'm still training. I'm still working. I'm still doing my thing. I'm still getting better. But I've kind of like taken a step back from the goal of fighting to try and get a career to be able to support what I do. I mean, I've been doing this a long time. When you're struggling and you don't know where the rent's coming from, you don't know where you're coming from, and you're working so hard and training so hard, and there's a goal in front of you, it can take a lot out of you spiritually, mentally, physically. You know, it's a lot. So, and it can affect your performance. You go into these fights and you're not free out there. You're thinking like, oh well, I lose this fight, everything's done. You know, I'm gonna get cut from the UFC, or like I'm gonna lose my job, or like I'm not gonna be able to make the rent, like because you only get half a paycheck, you know. And if you're making 12 and 12 fight, make 12 off of a decision, like you're not making much. And then you don't go fight here, you're not getting paid. So it's like, I'm like, man, like, if I'm that fucked up, it's hard to perform freely and enjoy what you're doing. You know, it becomes a thing that you don't feel like you want to do. It feels like a thing that you have to do, and it takes away the fun and love. You know, so I've decided to take a year to. I'm trying to be a police officer. I'm trying to get into the police academy, get a career in security. You know, get some financial freedom, and then I'll come. I'm only 29 years old, so if I get that done by the time I'm 30, come back. You know, make one more run for years. You know, my prime ain't over. I'm not done yet. You know, I made that little Instagram post and people acting like I'm dead. So, you know what I mean? But I don't want to be like that. I want to still set an example for people. I want to still show that it can be done. But all this thing that people tell you, oh, you pressure is everything, and like you have to have your back against the wall. No, this and that. That's bullshit, bro. If you're a fighter, you're either a fighter or you're not. So whether you're spoon fed, whether you have money, don't have money, whether you have no plan B, a plan B. If you're a fighter and you're under that fire and you're bleeding, you're hurt, when you get through it, something you either gotten you or you don't. I've already been in plenty of fights where I've been in that position. I proved that I have that. I think I'm making the best decision for myself, and you know, I think that's the move for me.
That's nice. That's nice. What else? What else we got? You've covered almost everything. You're taking a year off. Police. Have you started the police academy
I have.
or?
I've done all my testing. I've done my CJ bat. I've done my swim test. I've done my ability test. I have everything done. I've just been applying to departments, but it's a process. So I have to.
Yeah.
So what happens? You get into the police academy. They accept your applications and they call you. You do your interviews, your polygraphs, your drug testing, and they pay you to go to the academy, which is only 6-7 months. So you're getting paid an hourly wage while you're going to school. So that's your position as full-time student. Once you finish that, then you go on to the field on patrol. You're in training for the first 6 months, and then eventually you're independent. You work 4 days on, off, or depending on what agency you're with, it will be depending on your schedule. You know, so I think it's the best way to get security. I don't have to worry about where my bills are coming from. I can enjoy what I'm doing again. I can take a step back and breathe. And once I go train, I'm not training because I feel like I have to be there. I'm there because I want to be there.
Yeah.
I love it. Because when you do this for so long and it becomes your job, it starts to feel like a job. It starts to feel like you're in the Matrix. Even though you want to think, oh, this guy's lucky, like he gets to do what he loves every day. But when you do it like the way I've been doing it, you don't love it anymore. You know, so I'm not doing what I love every day. So I need to go back to that, and then I feel if I do that, I'll come back a whole lot better, a lot happier, and I can make a big difference.
To finish it off, this was a short and sweet, but it's for me out of all my interviews is the biggest because you're in the UFC. You started only 2 fights, but either way, UFC is UFC.
Yeah.
So I did a bucket list and I put like all the interviews. I didn't put names, but I put UFC, NBA, and you were the first one to accept. So I appreciate it. And for me, it's an honor. And to finish it off, I always finish saying like, what advice you have for kids that are growing up and they want to do MMA?
Have a plan that can financially support it. Because if you're doing this sport to make money, it's not the sport to do it. You know what I mean? If you do this, it has to be off passion. So if you do it, make sure you keep yourself in a mental position, a spiritual position where you can continue to love it. don't put so much into it to where it drains you to where it's not fun anymore. Always make yourself in the best position to enjoy it, love it, but at the same time, you know, work hard, take risks. You know, I may be in a position where I've been a little unhappy with it lately, and I might have been angry. But one thing I can tell you is MMA has given me so much opportunity. Martial arts, MMA has given me so much opportunity. I've traveled the world, fought on huge stages. You know, I've had good paychecks. I've had great experiences. I've met amazing people. I've been able to learn. I've been able to hone and um, see my ability to teach and help others and build crazy camaraderie. And I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. You know what I mean? But make sure if you do it right. You do it smart. Because they like to sell you a dream like you're going to be like a Conor McGregor and there's no plan B. And the odds of that are low. So if you're going to do it, it's always possible. I'm not saying it's impossible or you can't do it. But when you do it, make sure you do it the right way. Do it the smart way. You know, don't do it like a meathead and be a dummy and think that fighting is going to be the only thing to put you through. You know, it really isn't. You know, it shouldn't be.
Well, there you go. Thank you, Landon. This is Landon Quiñones. Thank you so much. We'll be praying so you could pass everything that gets you in the police and all that, and then you're happy, you do what you got to do, and then hopefully one day we see you again in the UFC, this time winning, and hopefully any positive things and a lot of energy from over here, from Kissimmee, over there, wherever you're at right now.
Yeah.
Just keep it positive.
Yeah, got you, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good night.